Today I'll show you how to make our lined boxy pouch with super neat insides and no binding seams to finish. Download the pattern from our website, and then you need a fabric for the outside, some interfacing. I've used this fusible fleece which is quite lightweight, and I'm going to fuse that to my main fabric to give it a bit more body and to help it hold its shape, and then also just a normal cotton for some lining fabric. You'll also need a zip. So I've fused the fleece to the back of my main fabric, and the first thing I'm going to do is cut out my template. Now, if you have a directional fabric, there's instructions on cutting the template in half and cutting two smaller pieces and then joining them. But for my fabric now, I'm just going to cut it in one big piece. And you don't need to see me do all the cutting because it's not very interesting, but here I am struggling through some weird internal corners with my rotary cutter. Possibly not the best tool, but we're going with it. And once you've done that, you can just pop that to one side because we don't need that yet. Okay, so now take your template and get rid of the bit with the crosshatch on, and you're just going to use this bit. And you're going to cut out 2 layers of the lining fabric. This is also the template that you'll use if you have a directional main fabric. And if your fabric's directional, keep note of what the top of the fabric is as well. So now that's cut out, we're going to flip over, and along the bottom edge we're going to join these together with a 1 centimetre seam allowance. And the reason that we're doing that is because we want to leave a gap for turning later. So take it to the sewing machine, do your stitches, and I recommend doing a back stitch where your gap begins and ends as well, because that point's going to have a lot of strain on it for when you're turning, because your whole project's going to come through that gap, and if you don't do a back stitch then your stitches might rip. So you should have a hole in the lining there that's about 10 centimetres long, and you're going to press this seam open, so you've got a nice little hole there. So now to the main fabric, and I've got some zipper by the yard, and I've just cut it to about 1 centimetre longer on each side than the edge of the main piece, and I'm just going to clip it to my main fabric with the right sides facing each other. Now I'm just going to baste this on, so I'm just going to go to my sewing machine, use a big stitch, and I'm not even going to bother changing to the zipper foot because I don't need this to be particularly close to the teeth. What I'm actually going to do is I'm going to line up my foot with the edge of the teeth, and I'm just going to move my needle position across so it's just attached. It's basically stopping it moving around for the next step. That's all I'm looking for here. Basting your zip to one side first is a really good way of getting a nice neat zip and not having your layers shifting around as you go. So now I've got my lining fabric, and I'm lining that with the right sides facing the main fabric and just clipping that on, and I'm going to sew this into place. Now I'm actually going to turn it over and sew it from the main fabric side. I can actually see my stitches, and the fabric isn't going to shift in the same way as if I did it from the top. Again, not going to use a zipper foot. All I'm going to do is move my needle position over slightly, so I'm sewing about 1 or 2 millimeters inwards from my previous basting stitches, and I'm going to make my stitch length back to a normal size, not to the basting size. Sewing your zip this way is a really good way to stop it shifting around, and you get a really nice neat finish. So I don't know if you can see here, but you should be able to see 2 lines of stitching on the wrong side, but just 1 on the main side. And now you're going to turn it the right way out, and you're just going to top stitch this edge so about 1 to 2 mil away from the zip. And again, no zip foot. I'm just playing around with my needle position so it gets to the perfect position and lining up the edge of my foot with the zip teeth. And I've upped my stitch length a tiny bit because it's going through quite a lot of layers at this point. And this will make my stitches look nice and even from the front. So I'm not sure if you can see this, but it is a really neat, even top stitch zip. So now we need to sew the other side of the zip, so I'm just going to flip the main fabric and line it up with the right sides facing the other side of the zip. I'm just going to clip this into place, and I'm going to repeat the process of what I did previously on the other side. I am going to baste this first side into place with a larger stitch, just get it in there and get that sewn. So I've sewn that, and now I'm just going to flip over the lining with the right sides facing and get that sewn in as well. So I'm going to clip it into place and then flip it over and sew it from the side that's already been sewn. So this is exactly the same process as I've done before, and I've remembered my stitch positions from previously as well, so I can really get everything to be lovely and even. So now your zip's sewn in, I'm just going to open it up and I am going to top stitch the second side just to keep that nice and as matchy to the other side as I can. So I'm using zipper by the meter, so I can completely separate the sides. If you're using a normal zip, it works just the same. You'll just want to open it up as much as possible so you can get into easily top stitch. So here we go, I am going to now join the zip up. So if you're using a normal zip, you will already be joined up, but I am using zip by the meter, so I'm just going to thread on the pull. I like to chop one side of the zip slightly shorter so I can feed the pull onto the longer side first and then get the other side in, and then that generally means that the sides line up quite nicely. If they don't line up well, you will want to have another go until they line up nicely. So at this moment in time, you should have your project looking much like this. And what we're going to do is we're going to separate the lining from the main. So you're going to pull the lining separately and pull it through so that each side, the lining side is right sides facing and the main fabric is right sides facing. And you want to line up this short edge because we're going to sew that first. So with the closed side it's nice and easy, but obviously with the open side of the zip you just want to make sure that the ends of that zip are pushed as close together as possible. So I like to clip one side first and then rearrange the clips so that I'm fully in control of where it's going, and then we're going to sew both of those sides. And this is a 1 centimetre seam allowance as well. And just be careful when you're going over that zip, because if you're using something quite chunky, your needle might not like that. And also make sure that your zip doesn't pull apart and have a gap whilst you're sewing. Keep it pushed nice and closely together. Annoyingly, I forgot to film the first side of this and it's already sewn, but all the sides are the same. So what you're going to do is you're going to find the internal corners and you're going to pull them apart, which will create a sort of straight line with the seam that you sewed in the last step in the middle. And do it for the main fabric first, and just clip that into place. It might take a little bit of arranging, but just work around it until you can do it. And then grab the lining, pull it apart and clip it to the thing that you've just clipped. So you're basically doing a boxy corner, if you've ever done a boxy corner on a normal bag or pouch, but you're kind of doing a double on. And once you've done that, you'll sew that with a 1 centimetre seam allowance. So this is one side done, and you can see my other 2 sides. So I'm going to pull the internal corners apart and clip. It doesn't matter if you start with the lining or the main fabric first. I usually start with the main fabric because it's a little bit more stable, but it really doesn't make a difference. And just get one side pinned and then the other one kind of gets worked into it. It's really hard to describe and really hard to make it look like it makes sense, but I think when you're doing it you'll see the bits that need to go together. I hope. The main thing is you just really want to get that to a point where it's as straight as possible, and then sew that, and then repeat for each corner, and pin and repin or clip and re-clip until you feel like you've got a really nice straight flat line. And when you've done, it kind of looks like a bit of a mess, but just try and find the turning hole in the lining that you left right at the beginning and gently try and pull it through, and just push out all the corners so they're as neat as you can get. And then once you've checked everything over, you can sew up that lining gap. So I just run a sewing machine over it about 1 millimetre away from the edge, but you could slip stitch it shut if you were doing a really fancy job. And then you're done, and look at all these lovely, neat, enclosed seams that just no binding, nothing, just a really lovely professional finish on a bag. I hope you like it. I'm sorry if it got a little bit complicated in the middle there, but here you go.